All right, we're into the second quarter right now. We're into the second hour of the program as well. SportsGrid Radio and Television Network. I am Gabriel Morency, Sirius XM Channel 159. Don't forget, Mondays and Thursdays, we're on Sirius XM Channel 159 and SportsGrid On Demand on YouTube. So that's the name of the YouTube channel, SportsGrid On Demand, but it is free. And you get all past shows, too. It's a very good SportsGrid YouTube account to know. If you're a fan of the grid, all past programming and live shows and stuff like that, alternate programming. We have a lot of fun on the YouTube. The chat's always rocking on Mondays and Thursdays. And as I say, we have a double header next week, Monday Night Football. We'll get to that in a second. So we're into the second quarter right now. The in-game total is 32.5 right now. The Chiefs are leading 3-0. They just punted the ball back to the Chargers. There was a long field goal. We got the long field goal. It was 46.5 on the first drive of the game. The Chiefs kicked a 47-yard field goal. But the Chargers, it's weird. The Chargers get a couple of first downs all the time, and they get the ball to midfield, and then they go backwards. They get penalties, and then they punt. It's like they're both drives were the same thing for the Chargers. They were both kind of promising. It was like, big play to big play over the middle. Boom. They're on they went from their own 30 to the 50, 45, whatever, and then they go backwards. So now they got the ball back. The Chiefs just punted the ball back to them. It's 32.5. I just put in 2 in-game plays, and that's what we're here for, to entertain and to try to make you some money. We're going to go over 4.5 Travis Kelce. He's got 1 catch right now, so it's 4.5. We need 4 more catches for Kelce. And we took the Quentin Johnston over 4.5 as well. And Johnston right now, he's got 2 catches. It's funny. I was surprised. He just moved to 5.5, actually. Because I was like, man, he's got 2 catches and it's 4.5. It was minus 170, so I should note that. I laid minus 170 over 4.5. But they moved it. Evidently, I don't think it was my bet to move the number. But I think they realized, you know what? I'm sure I wasn't the only one that spotted the 4.5. So they're like, all right, let's make it 5.5 at the plus money. Right now. So Quentin Johnston's now over 5.5 and plus 135. Let's see if the Chargers can get something going here. It is close. All right. I mean, it's it's not the most entertaining game. We thought that this was going to be a defensive battle tonight, division rivals, and it has been so far. But hopefully the Chargers can get something going here. Put some points on the board, and that'll give us some protection with the points that we're getting. They're 5.5-point underdogs right now in game. So the 2 in-game bets I just made: Quentin Johnston over 4.5 receptions, minus 170, and Travis Kelce over 4.5. That was like minus 130. So the Chargers starting the drive right now, like their own 16-yard line. And give credit to Feinberg. Feinberg was with us. Jeff Feinberg, big Charger fan, smart better, really good golf better, but he's good at football, obviously, and. He was, he's a Charger fan, and he said, Gabe, I don't know how they're going to move the ball. He goes, without Ladd McConkey, how are they going to be able to move the ball? And he brought up Gus Edwards, without J.K. Dobbins, the 1-2 punch isn't quite as dynamic right now, and the Chargers can't run the ball. They don't really have a choice but to throw it. You see, every time they run the ball, it's getting stuffed right now. And if I'm Harbaugh, you got to open this up a little bit, bro. You can't dance with, a 3-0 game with Mahomes. Eventually they're going to, Oh my God. Good. Oh. Herbert just missed a touchdown to Palmer. I'm telling you, I just said it. I don't care if McConkey's here or not. These guys are getting open, bro. Oh my God, he was alone. You're never going to see someone that open in an NFL football game. That's like only a couple of times a year that'll happen. I cannot believe that Herbert just missed this. He overthrew him. He by a lot. There was nothing. They're showing it in ultra slow motion here. You can say, all right, Palmer, could he have stretched out more for it? Not really. The ball was, it was just over his head. He wouldn't have caught it. But he was wide open, man. That was like a college breakdown type thing. Palmer was literally it was one of those oh my, I saw Palmer going down the middle of the field as the play was developing. And I was I thought to myself quickly, I'm like, oh my God, Like, this is like, this is crazy how open he is. Like, I'm like, oh my God, he's going to be wide open. And then lo and behold, he was. And then it's all going through my mind as the play's going on. I'm like, man, I hope Herbert sees him. And Herbert saw him, but he overthrew him. It should be 7-3 right now. Should, if ends in butts were candies and nuts, right? But it should be. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Wow. That was frustrating. And like I said, too, now the Chiefs have the ball on the 45-yard line, and watch, they're going to score. Now it's going to be 10-0 for them. But Herbert, man, like if that was like a quarterback that people like to pick on and say that sucks, right? They would be all over him right now. Like that was really one of those like man, you got to hit that, bro. You're playing the Kansas City Chiefs. You got Palmer wide open over the middle of the field like that. That's a touchdown, bro. That's a touchdown. So instead, now suddenly it's the point spread is 7.5. The Chiefs drive is going to start on their 45-yard line. So they've got good field position. Wow, that was what's the word I'm looking for? Frustrating. I'd say that's the word we're looking for. Frustrating. Extremely frustrating. Now, the Steamroller is going to step up, and then Scott Steen, we had a Charger rep on earlier on the program, repping the Chargers. We'll get Scott Steen on in the next segment here, and he's probably the only one that's happy that Herbert just missed that right there. Like, he's like, I said, oh, God, like, unless you're a Chief fan, but especially for the over and the teaser, that just really would have changed the dynamic of this football game. And if you're the Chargers, you're not going to hold the Chiefs to 3 points like all game here, right? Like maybe, okay, you can hold to another field goal, 6-0, it's not the end of the world, but you really, you know what I mean? It could be 10-0 here. That was just really, 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 really frustrating. So in-game total is now 32.5 right now. The Kansas City Chiefs are laying 7.5. And as me and Dave Delano were talking about a bit, great week of football coming up. Like this, the holiday season is coming up now. And so the NFL schedule is going to be all over the place, guys. Right? They're playing all the way through the holidays. They're playing Christmas Day and this and that. And like the Chiefs are playing 1 million games. So the Chiefs' schedule is really going to start to get challenging for them right now. That was a big win for the Rams today for the Chiefs. The Chiefs sort of have their eye on what the Buffalo Bills are doing. But we got the Bengals and Cowboys tomorrow night, so it should be a fun game, right? It's not a critical game, but since it isn't, it actually should be fun. We know the Bengals are just going to go out there and sling the ball. We like the over 49.5. Thursday Night Football, the Rams and the 49ers, very good game, critical game, big-time game in the NFC West, although Seattle are in control right now of that operation. San Francisco, 2-point home favorites over the visiting Rams, total 48.5. And we've got the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers in Philadelphia. The Steelers, 4.5-point road underdogs. Total is kind of light at 44. And it's pretty wild. That game's at 4:25, and so is the Buffalo Bills and the Detroit Lions. Like next week, like that 4:25 window, you got some like big-time games here. You got the Colts and Broncos, too. That's actually, we were talking earlier about, like, we're getting a kick out of they always show in the hunt. These teams, like, yeah, I don't know if you're in the hunt. You're not mathematically limited. I don't know if you're in the hunt, but Indianapolis are sort of lurking. They're the ones that if they could, run the table, basically, and they do play the Denver Broncos. So that is a big-time sort of wild card football game right there. The Broncos are laying 5 to the visiting Colts. And we have a double-header next Monday night, guys. The Bears and the Vikings and the Falcons and the Raiders.
She was recruited to Oregon partially by, guess who? Mark Campbell and Xavi Lopez. They know what they're doing. And I'm going to say this right now, folks. I'm going to say this right now. Mark Campbell is one of the 5 to 10 best coaches in women's college basketball right now.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
We got the NBA Cup going on. Not that anybody really cares per se about the NBA Cup. Now, I got to be honest with you. I actually did try to look of like, okay, like what does it mean like for the NBA Cup? Like who's playing for what here? And I lost interest and I gave up after about 30 seconds. And I was like, you know what? Whatever, dude. There's NBA games.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
He also said that the Bears head coaching opening would be the most coveted job after the season.
They'll let that guy stay. I heard today that they were very worried about screwing up Caleb Williams, so that he likes this guy Brown so much that they may let him stay as the head coach. What a disaster that'll turn into.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
In-game live game day continues. I am Gabriel Morency. All right, we'll bring the steamroller here in a second. But so the Bills were playing the Rams today. Wild game. Josh Allen, first quarterback ever in NFL history to score 3 touchdowns and to pass for 3 touchdowns. Unbelievable. You know, this guy, like, unbelievable stuff. What Josh Allen is doing this year. But the Bills defense couldn't stop. They couldn't stop the Rams. It was just one of those games. You know, and it's normally the Rams guys actually. You know, remember the Rams, years ago against the Chiefs, said the Rams a couple of times a year are going to find themselves in a 50-41, 51-48 game or whatever, 48-46, etc. And that was just one of those wild ones today. But so I'm watching the game, and I'm in the Seattle region of like TV. So I get like, West Coast. I don't have like the direct ticket or anything like that. So I watch games online and I get a million games, but I have like a million channels in different time zones and stuff. So I get pretty much every NFL game. But anyways, so I'm watching the Bills game today, and they cut like to a commercial type thing. And I sort of was like, I'm paying, I'm on the couch and looking at some games. And I'm sort of, I'm relaxing and stuff. And I didn't realize they cut away from the freaking Bill game in Seattle. Like one of the best games of the year to track me. And I'm like, who's this high school band? What the hell is going on? And evidently it's like the Seattle High School Band Championship or something today. So Scott, it took me like 10 minutes. Like I'm sitting there, I'm like, dude, it's not halftime. What the hell is going on here? And I'm like, did I change the channel? Sometimes you change the channel, you don't realize it. I'm like, did I change the channel? Where's the Bills game? And I got this, it's like marching bands going up and down the field and stuff. And I'm like, son of a bitch, they cut away from the game for this high school thing.
I had Cardinal Jennings at plus 600 to win the whole competition, so I was happy to see the band.
Yeah, I had Chapel High. But good call, Scott. So there's a field goal, second field goal of the game. 6-0 for Scott Steamrollers. Kansas City Chiefs. Always good to see you, Scott. And new updated number right now is 8.5. The Chiefs are now laying 8.5. The total is 32.5 right now. Kind of a sloppy football game so far, Scott.
Yeah, it really is. Able to move the ball between the 30s pretty well, but they both stalled out when they've got there. I've got all kinds of touchdown props, and I'm assuming somebody's going to get one at some point. So we'll see what happens, man. I had a buddy of mine text me before the game, and his prediction was 31-17 Chiefs. I said, I don't think the Chiefs can score 31 against this defense if they took 2 games to do it. So far, that's been the case. This is this Chargers defense. It's for real. They've had some slip ups against decent teams, but that is a team that just isn't going to give you anything easy.
Incredibly well coached, huh? Like the Chargers, like they just Harbaugh does a great job. It's not flashy. It's not, you know what I mean? And it's like Big Ten style. He's basically playing Big Ten football in the NFL. Yep. And Minter, Minter's a rookie coach, guys. Right? Harbaugh obviously not a rookie, but Minter is, right? Minter was the defensive coordinator of the Michigan Wolverines.
Right.
He was on the staff with the Baltimore Ravens before, but he wasn't the DC, right? He was like the DB coach or whatever. And like, basically the Harbaugh, Baltimore, and Michigan are sort of intertwined with their coaching staff, but he brought Minter along to the NFL, and I was wondering about that. Like, it's a tough, it's different, NFL and college football, but man, Minter's doing a great job. So what do you think about this total now at 32.5? Like, the dynamic of the game really would have changed. And I know as a Chief backer or fan, I don't know if you're on the Chief, but like, can't believe Herbert missed that pass. It really would have changed everything, right? Made it 7-3. Just would have changed the pace of the game, the tempo, just everything. Man, I can't believe he didn't complete that.
That's as wide open as you're going to see somebody in the NFL. That you have to make that pass. You have to be able to complete that pass, put a little more air under it, let him run under it. That was, as a Chiefs fan, happy to see it. As somebody who has a bunch of touchdown totals that that weren't there, I was happy to see it. But yeah, that was for the game. And you're right; it changes the total, it changes the spread, it changes everything. I think 32.5. That's tempting. That's tempting. I think they're going to get that. I think they're going to get that number playable. If we have one more dry drive here and get that down to the 30.5, 31 range, I think it may be time to hit the over. I'm thinking there are going to be some points scored in this game.
If I'm the Chargers, I'm kind of frustrated offensively right now. Like you said, they've had a couple of chunk plays. Boom, they get the ball to the 50, to 45. And then there's always penalties. They stall. They go backwards. Now they have a wide open wide receiver, and Herbert misses him. It's kind of like Texas yesterday, to be honest. Like, we were in Texas. We're going up and down the field. Texas had like 300 yards and 6 points at one point. I'm like, I don't know how you guys racked up 270 yards in the first half and have 6 points, right? But it was just one of those type of games. What did you do with this game? Like Scott said, man, I forgot about my first touchdown score props. It's been so long.
Right?
It's like, I got first touchdown score prop in the game. Like Scott said, eventually it'll happen. But what did you do with the game? Did you bet a side or a total of this game before it started? You are a Chiefs fan, but doesn't mean you're automatically going to bet on them.
I pounded the under 42.5. I can't call a Chiefs side to save my life. I stayed away from it. My big play was on the under 42.5. I've got Pacheco, first TD at 600, anytime TD 120. I've got Edwards anytime at 195, Gray anytime at 400. And of course, I've got to take Kelsey over 5.5, and I've got Gray over 2.5.
We got a lot of the same stuff. I got Pacheco first touchdown score of the game as well. And I played a small play on Gus Edwards too. It's usually running backs in these primetime games. It's insane.
Not having Dobbins is huge for this offense for the Chargers. Missing Dobbins is just absolutely crucial for the San Diego game.
Yeah, you know what? I was surprised that Dobbins and Edwards were as successful as they were. Right, 2 older dudes, surgeries, and all that type of stuff. And it was working earlier in the season, but now without Dobbins, as you stated, they can't get anything going. And once again, like, guys, the Chargers had a nice return. They had good field position. They start the drive on like their 45, 3 and out. Now they got to punt again. Now Herbert's getting frustrated. Like he's dropping F-bombs and talking to himself now on the sideline.
She was recruited to Oregon partially by Guess who? Mark Campbell and Xavi Lopez. They know what they're doing. And I'm going to say this right now, folks. I'm going to say this right now. Mark Campbell's one of the 5 to 10 best coaches in women's college basketball right now.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
We got the NBA Cup going on. Not that anybody really cares per se about the NBA Cup. Now, I got to be honest with you. I actually did try to look of what does it mean like for the NBA Cup? Like who's playing for what here? And I lost interest and I gave up after about 30 seconds. So I was like, you know what? Whatever, dude. There's NBA games.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
He also said that the Bears head coaching opening would be the most coveted job after the season.
They'll let that guy stay. I heard today that they were very worried about screwing up Caleb Williams, so that he likes this guy Brown so much that they may let him stay as the head coach. What a disaster that'll turn into.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
In-game live game day continues. We're kicking it with the steamroller right now. We got about 5.5 left in the first half. Tom Vecchio is going to step up and in at the half with the halftime report tonight. 6-0 football game. Both defenses really been balling, but I'll give credit to the defenses, Scott. We know the Chiefs' defense is arguably the best defense in the NFL. The Chargers' defense has been balling under Minter, as we discussed. But the drop passes, like we talked about the Herbert missed pass, but KC have dropped little, like straight little dump off passes and screen plays have been hard. And see the Chargers as well, very sloppy tonight, Scott, both sides. It's somewhat surprising. It's not a Thursday night game. It's a Sunday night game. It's a big game. You guys are good teams. Neither team's playing well on offense tonight.
No, they're really not. And you and I talked a little bit at the break. I want to know why Bailey Cupp is in there at all. That's they talked about it's the 6th tight end Kansas City has used this season. I just don't know why they designed plays for him in that situation. I feel bad for the kid. His first NFL game ever, and just absolutely drops an easy one that would have gone for 5 or 6 yards and totally changed the complexion of that drive. But yeah, it's uncharacteristic, and to see Herbert miss passes like that is kind of uncharacteristic too.
One thing I've noticed, though, and with the Chiefs, the Chiefs get away with false starts all the time. They just got away. It's blatant. It's blatant. Like they always, and they perfected this, right? They're a step ahead all the time, right? They always just sort of leave a little bit early collectively, and they get away with it. But that was blatant there. Like you got to call that. Like I'd be pissed if I was Harbaugh right now. All right, 3rd and 2, and Mahomes goes way deep, no flags on the play. So now the Chargers now finally going to get the ball in pretty good field position. There'll be no excuses for them here. Herbert looks fired up right now on the sideline. See if we can get something going. 6-0 game. So, Scott, what do you think about the Monday Nighter tomorrow? We were talking with Delano earlier, and we both agreed. It seems, we could say it's squarish or publicish, but I don't see how this game doesn't go over 49.5, bro.
No, that's mine too, and that's the only thing that worries me. You're going to be on the massive public side, but that Oregon game the other night, that was a massive public side as well, and they absolutely clean their clocks, and with the over in that game and the side of Oregon. So the public is right every once in a while, Gabe. Otherwise, they wouldn't keep coming back. So I think that's going to be the case. I think and it's a Monday night game. They're going to be playing the over. It's shaded a point. I don't even care. 49.5 is still a gimme. I just don't see any way they just keep stop anybody.
What do you think of the college football playoff bracket? We went over the point spreads earlier, guys, but if you're just joining us right now, Indiana and Notre Dame are the first teams up on Friday night, December the 20th. So not this Friday, but next Friday. Indiana, Notre Dame. Can't believe Christmas is that close, actually. The season just flown by. But Indiana's getting 7.5. The total's 50.5. And obviously, weather could be a factor on a night game, December the 20th in South Bend, Indiana. But with that being stated, I think this total's too light, too, man. Indiana, bro, like Notre Dame can score on them, and they're going to be able to score on Notre Dame. I think this total's too light. Like, unless there's like a blizzard snowstorm or like crazy weather or something, I'm going to be looking at the over this one.
Yeah, I agree. I think the weakest unit on the field is going to be the Indiana defense, and I think that Indiana offense, like you said, they can score against anybody. I think Notre Dame probably do most of the heavy lifting here, but that total seems a little low to me, the 51.5. I like Penn State to cover. I don't think SMU is in their class. I don't know that they're going to be able to do much as far as that goes. But the other ones, I like a couple dog shots. I like Clemson in the points. And I really like Tennessee catching 7.5. Everybody's kind of gone to sleep on this Tennessee team. We've heard about Alabama, we've heard about Georgia, we've heard about Texas, et cetera, et cetera. Everybody's just kind of forgotten about Tennessee. That's a hell of a good football team right now. I'll take Tennessee giving me better than a touchdown against anybody in the country, especially Ohio State right now.
Yeah, you know what? That total's 47. Two really, really good defenses going head to head here, and I'm tempted by the dogs as well. And I sort of feel the same way. Although, Penn State lost last night, but that was a good showing by them. Like, you know what I mean? People are always going to pick on Franklin on winning the big games and stuff like that. Hey, the Ducks are damn good, man. And Penn State punched back. All right, they got NFL players on that team, Penn State. So I get where you're going with that, but at the same point in time, if SMU starts scoring points on them, right? Like, I think this game could turn into a track meet as well. But going on the road, man, right? Going into Happy Valley in a playoff spot like that's going to be tough. That's the noon Eastern on Saturday. More with Scott on the other side.
She was recruited to Oregon partially by, guess who? Mark Campbell and Xavi Lopez. They know what they're doing. And I'm going to say this right now, folks. I'm going to say this right now. Mark Campbell is one of the 5 to 10 best coaches in women's college basketball right now.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
We got the NBA Cup going on. Not that anybody really cares per se about the NBA Cup. Now, I got to be honest with you. I actually did try to look what does it mean like for the NBA Cup? Like who's playing for what here? And I lost interest and I gave up after about 30 seconds. And I was like, you know what? Whatever, dude. There's NBA games.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
He also said that the Bears head coaching opening would be the most coveted job after the season.
They'll let that guy stay. I heard today that they were very worried about screwing up Caleb Williams, so that he likes this guy Brown so much that they may let him stay as the head coach. What a disaster that'll turn into.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
In-game live continues. I am Gabriel Morency. I got to say, this might be the worst game that we've done this year, and Herbert's hurt. Justin Herbert just got smoked. You know what? It was a little after he threw it, but I don't, it was old school football. I'm not crying about a penalty or anything like that. But that's the Chargers' luck, man. Nothing's going their way. Everyone's dropping passes. Herbert missed a wide open guy. He hit Palmer. He threw like a fastball to Palmer. Palmer drops it. Then on the next play, they finally connect. He drops back. He throws it. They got like a 40, 45-yard pickup, whatever, in a Chiefs territory, and there's a holding penalty on Joe Alt. And Herbert's injured. And for the record, Heineke's coming in here right now. Herbert's still on the field right now. And Harbaugh looks like he's going to cry. Look at Harbaugh.
That is literally insult to injury. As Herbert's on the field, the referee standing over him calling a holding penalty. Good Lord.
Yeah, and as he gets smoked, I know. Like I saw the flag, and I'm like, nah, it's no late hit. They already threw the flag. Like it's going to be holding. They finally complete a pass, Scott. They finally complete a pass. Yeah, it comes back, and he gets hurt on the play.
It's his best throw of the night.
I don't know if it's his like his hand. It's like, you know what I mean? He got hit with a helmet, like in his forearm type of thing. He's walking off the field. Listen, Herbert's a really tough dude. He's walking off the field. I think he could be coming back in after. Potentially.
Could be a left elbow. It could be I was thinking a thumb on a helmet.
Yeah, exactly. Like you saw his hand got caught up, right? His whole arm, whatever. Right. Got like awkwardly too.
Yeah, his left arm got caught up awkwardly, and his right hand was coming through. It made contact with the helmet. That just hurts. That hurts me, man. And it's cold here, Gabe, as it is in most of America right now. It's about 40, 42 degrees.
Oh,
and windy.
Those helmets hurt more. Yeah, exactly.
That stings, baby.
It hurts more in the cold. And that's a 3rd and 20. But for the record, Herbert's not even in the tent. Like I see him, he's standing on the sideline. So I think it's just all right. He's got to shake it off here. Heineke running for like 20 yards, but 15 yards, but it's not enough. Dear God, this game, dude, we're just spinning our wheels back and forth here.
It's like an old Southwest Conference game between like TCU and Baylor or something like that.
No, bro, this is like one of those crappy Sun Belt games, bro, during the week. That we were forced to get Troy and Southwest, whatever. You know what I mean?
So a Wednesday night MAC game, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and it was 3-0. And some of these games, Jacksonville State versus Sam Houston State, and stuff like that. All right, so 4 minutes left, and now the Chiefs are getting the ball back again. And on the plus side, although I don't think Herbert's knocked out of the game type stuff. Like I said, he didn't even go into any tent or anything. He's standing on the sideline right now, shaking it off. Quick baseball check. The Dodgers are coming to terms. The Dodgers are signing Michael Conforto. So it looks like Teoscar Hernandez is probably going to be gone if they're signing Conforto. So Michael Conforto agreeing to a deal with the Dodgers currently. And Mike Puma, who covers the Mets, long time, Daily News, I think. Anyways, been around a long time, credible guy. He is reporting that a decision is being made now, like tonight type thing. That Soto is going to we're going to know in the morning potentially. Now that's what he says. I'm not confirming it, but for the record, and he's also reporting that the Mets are up to 800 now, 800 million for Soto. It's getting stupid because the Blue Jays are all in, Scott. Already, we know the Blue Jays offered him like 750, so now Cohen's gotta up it. So I guess he said, all right, I screw it, 800 million. I'm curious to see if the Blue Jays will come back. And the Blue Jays are rich. They're owned by a Rogers cell phone communication, internet company. They're one of the biggest corporations in the world. They're super rich. So they could just say, you know what? We're not going to lose this one. Give them $1 billion. But this is getting stupid for Soto here. He's a great player, but you're better off just signing 3 or 4 other players, bro, than one guy for all that money.
Dude, and the thing about baseball, that's all guaranteed. It's not like football where here's 20 million up front and we'll see about that other 60 down the road. That's all his. You signed 800 million. That's 800 million real dollars he's going to get at some point in his life. Unbelievable.
Wow. Billion. We all talk about these owners and stuff, but that's a lot of money to owe someone still. You got to pay him $1 billion. You got to pay him nearly $1 billion.
$1 billion, buddy.
Yeah.
That's
pretty wild. So before we get you out of here, Scott, we got we got a couple of minutes left here still, but look, we were talking about the college football, NFL football. We talked about liking the over tomorrow night. Thursday night, you get the Rams and 49ers. The total's 48.5. And we got some big-time games this week. They're like the Lions and the Bills. What are your thoughts on that one? The Bills, I almost like the Bills more coming off a loss than if they would have won that game today.
Yeah, I could see that. I think those are two. In my opinion, those are still the top two teams in the NFL. And I'm saying that as a Chiefs fan. I really do believe those are the two best teams. I think the Detroit Lions are just a little bit more well-rounded. I like their two-headed running attack a little bit better. I like what they bring to the passing game. I think they have an advantage at wide receiver and at tight end. I like the Lions there in a tight one. I think the Lions get the cover at minus the 2.5.
Kansas City Chiefs are in Cleveland. And this is where it starts to begin, right? For the Chiefs, man, their schedule, as a Chief fan, how crazy the schedule gets for the Chiefs over the holiday. They play like three games in 9 days.
Yep, 3 games in 9 days. That's exactly right. And, this Cleveland team, as they showed us in Denver, that's a team that can step up. You get Jameis hot. That defense still has the ability to get after the passer. So these are all dangerous games for the Chiefs. And most importantly, we've seen the Chiefs play down to the level of whatever team they're playing. They went down to the wire against Carolina. The only team that they really took care of was the Saints, and that's it. That's the only no-sweat game they've really had all season. So there are no easy games for the Chiefs. I firmly believe that.
So you look at the Chiefs schedule, guys. Chiefs at Browns, and like Scott said too, the Browns, they're playing with house money, right? It's hit or miss with them, but they're not an easy out. That won't be an easy game for the Chiefs going into Cleveland. Then the Texans and the Chiefs Saturday, December 21st. And then they play on Christmas, which is the Wednesday. So, they're playing on the 15th, the 21st, the 25th, and then they get a little bit of a break. They play on January 5th again. But and we should note the Chiefs play on Christmas Day in Pittsburgh, right? So that's not going to be an easy game for them on 3 days rest, which is 4 days rest after the Saturday game. And we got a double header next Monday night. So, I like this holiday season stuff. You never know. There's random. There's going to be football on all the time, not to mention all the bowl games too, Scott.
All the bowl games. Yeah. Bowl games are starting earlier and earlier. So it's a good time for football fans and for football bettors, man. There's a lot of value to be found out there. You got to dig a little deeper to find it, but it's there, man.
We got the Army-Navy game this week, too. Any thoughts on that one? Army, 5.5-point favorites. What a run by Army this year, huh? Hard not to like them. I don't think they're the military teams. They're not going to let down. And it's a Navy game.
Yeah, I really thought Tulane was going to step up a little bit more than they did. And of course, you look at that roster, man, and they are chock full of guys from Louisiana and Texas, a couple from California. There was not very many cold weather guys on that Tulane squad. The Army-Navy game, a little bit different. You can pretty much pencil it in for the under. That's the way the service academy games generally work. I think this is an Army team that is very, very good right now. I think their Navy showed us a little bit early in the season, and then they kind of fell off the cliff. I think Army takes care of business there. I'll lay 5.5 reluctantly.
It's too bad that Army. If Army would have beaten Notre Dame, they're in the playoffs right now. It's pretty crazy. They're not getting any love really, and I get it. It's because of their schedule, guys. Army played their schedule was 133rd. You know what I mean? So it was their schedule, and their one game was sort of Notre Dame, and they lost. But Army only have one loss, guys. All this talk about all these playoff teams. Army only have one loss. Scott, it's always a pleasure, man. Where can people find you online?
You can find me at Steenroller. You can find me over at our brand new site, hitthepick.com. So, check us out.
Hitthepick.com.
Baby.
She was recruited to Oregon partially by, guess who? Mark Campbell and Xavi Lopez. They know what they're doing. And I'm going to say this right now, folks. I'm going to say this right now. Mark Campbell's one of the 5 to 10 best coaches in women's college basketball right now.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
We got the NBA Cup going on. Not that anybody really cares per se about the NBA Cup. Now, I got to be honest with you. I actually did try to look of like, okay, like what does it mean like for the NBA Cup? Like who's playing for what here? And I lost interest and I gave up after about 30 seconds. And I was like, you know what? Whatever, dude. There's NBA games.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
He also said that the Bears head coaching opening would be the most coveted job after the season.
They'll let that guy stay. I heard today that they were very worried about screwing up Caleb Williams, so that he likes this guy Brown so much that they may let him stay as the head coach. What a disaster that'll turn into.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
In-game live game day continues. I am Gabriel Morency. Tom Vecchio's going to step up and in with the halftime report in a couple of minutes. Under a minute remaining right now in the first half, and we have our game's first touchdown score, and we did not hit it. DeAndre Hopkins scores the touchdown for the Kansas City Chiefs. First touchdown score. That's the first touchdown of this football game. Hard to believe, but it is. So 12-0 extra point pending right now. DeAndre Hopkins, touchdown. 12-0 for the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Chargers are in a lot of trouble, man. Like, what a massive miss it was earlier in the football game, in the first quarter. Josh Palmer was wide open. You're not going to get that open. Like, you'll never see a wide receiver that open. He was all alone, and Herbert overshot him. Herbert, not enough air on the football. He slung it, and it was too much velocity on it, and Palmer couldn't catch up to it. And it would have been 7-3, 6-3, 7-3, etc. Extra point. Let's just say it would have been 7-3. Really would have changed the dynamic of the game. Now it's 13-0. And the updated number right now is 12.5. So it's 13-0, and you're getting 12.5 right now. With the Chargers are laying 12.5. The total is 32.5. I kind of think, the 32.5 is kind of tempting. Now they're up to 13. Especially if the Chargers, it's sort of like a gamble right now with the 32.5 here. Can the Chargers do something in the 45 seconds that they have here? They got 47 seconds. They had a big return last time. They got it out to midfield. The Chargers have gotten to midfield numerous times, but they always go backwards. And Herbert missed a clear touchdown pass. They had a big completion. It would have set them up on first down on the Chiefs 22-yard line type of deal. And it came back because of a holding penalty. And then Herbert got lit up on the play and got hurt. It's been a disastrous, very frustrating first half. And Feinberg kind of called this, and he said he didn't feel good about this game, and he was wondering where the yards and the points are going to come from. But it's strange. They've dropped passes, and the receivers have been open. I know McConkey's not here, but the receivers have been open. They've either dropped it or Herbert has missed them. It's been a very, very sloppy half of football offensively for the Chargers. So Herbert's 7 of 14, 73 passing yards right now. Let's check his in-game number. It's going to be pretty low here, obviously. So let's see if we can get a if it's low enough. Let's see if it can pique our interest. I mean, this is the spot to do it, right? We jump in on the quarterback, who is down. We know they're gonna have to throw the ball, but they took Herbert off the board. I don't know, because he hasn't played since he came out of the game, right? But they haven't had the ball, and so Herbert. All right, they just posted him back up. Herbert's fine. Like Herbert's not hurt, so. Herbert's coming back out onto the field right now. So they had it locked. Didn't have his name up, but they just put it back up, but it's locked right now. So, we'll jump in on the number when they post one here. He's at 73. He's not going to have a choice. They're going to have to start throwing the ball. And as I stated, it's there. They could have had a touchdown earlier. The receivers are getting open down the field. So we'll see if they can pick up a chunk play here. Maybe get a field goal on the way out potentially, but they really kind of have to. I mean, this game it's one score away from being over for them. Like, let's just be real. Like, 13, the Chargers are in trouble now as it is, right? It's 13-0. They're in trouble. They need to score, and they're offensively challenged. And they're shorthanded. No Dobbins, no McConkey. But 13-0 is manageable, right? If you score a field goal here and maybe you get a touchdown out, you can get back in it at 13. If this game becomes 20-0, you're done. Right? Like you're toast. You're not the Chargers. There's no way in hell they're going to be able to come back and even cover the point spread. As it is now, even if we score a touchdown, we're still not covering the point spread at 6, down 13-0. So it'd be really big and critical here for the Chargers to at least put 3, right? Make it 13. Stop the bleeding here a little bit. But this looks like it's going to be a frustrating long night, to be honest. And what's crazy? This game, if normally when there's a game when nothing happens in a game, the game goes by quickly, right? The clock ticks, no one's scoring, there's not a lot of breaks and stuff because nothing is happening. And it goes quickly. This has been a long first half. Considering, there's really hasn't been that much action and the clock just ticks. But it's been a long first half, actually. All right, so the Chargers are playing dink and dunk here. That's all they can do. And they do have a very good kicker. Right there, Dicker the kicker is a good kicker. Right, so I will say, he could probably, it is cold there, but I'm going to say he could probably hit from 55. So they got to kind of get to the 40, around the 40-yard line or so of the Chiefs, I think, to have a puncher's chance of this. But they just ran the ball. Why would you even bother running the ball there, Coach? Do you want to try to get 3? I just drop back, heave it down the field a couple of times here. Maybe you get a PI call, and if not, you go to the room down 13-0. But to me, that was kind of pointless just to run the football there. Even this last 50 seconds is painfully long. It's guys, hurry up, man. If you're gonna just do what you're gonna do. All right, so they do just heave it down the field, but it's incomplete. There's only they're out of time now, so this is going to be it here. It's going to be 13-0 at the half, and let's see if they got Herbert back up yet. All right, so Herbert over under 215.5 passing yards. That's a little higher than I wanted it to be. I thought it would be 192 or something like that. It's 80. He's at 82 yards right now. So it's 215.5. And they're down double digits. So he doesn't have a choice to throw the football. So, you know what? We will jump in on Justin Herbert here and hope for the best that he doesn't get hurt. Tom Vecchio coming up. Halftime report.
If they beat South Carolina, they're going to 10-1. So if you're on this, you're TCU trained. Listen. Mark and Chavi have done the job, but I may be the spokesman for TCU women's basketball because I believe in these guys and I know what they can do. If they beat South Carolina, they're going to be 10-1 to win a national championship.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
We got the NBA Cup going on. Not that anybody really cares per se about the NBA Cup. Now, I got to be honest with you. I actually did try to look like, okay, like what does it mean like for the NBA Cup? Like who's playing for what here? And I lost interest and I gave up after about 30 seconds. And I was like, you know what? Whatever, dude. There's NBA games.
Sports Rage tonight. Only on SportsGrid.
He also said that the Bears head coaching opening would be the most coveted job after the season.
They'll let that guy stay. I heard today that they were very worried about screwing up Caleb Williams, so that he likes this guy Brown so much that they may let him stay as the head coach. What a disaster that'll turn into.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
What's going on, and welcome to Pro Football Today, halftime for Sunday Night Football. My name is Tom Vecchio, here to bring you a quick update for halftime. Chiefs just scored at the end of the second quarter there to give us our first touchdown of the game. That was DeAndre Hopkins. He was up at about 11-1. It is 13-0 in favor of the Chiefs. We're seeing both quarterbacks getting a little bit knocked around. We did see Herbert get a little bit banged up. He left for a couple snaps. Taylor Heineke had to come in. And as of now, Taylor Heineke is actually the leading rusher on the Chargers, the one carry for 12 yards. They've obviously gotten nothing going on offense. Mahomes is also getting knocked around a little bit, as we have seen, but he's still moving the ball. They have been forced to settle for field goals, which has kind of been the MO of the Chargers this season, where, you know, teams can drive the ball a little bit, but then ultimately they shut teams down once they get past half field or get into the red zone. Mahomes, 18 of 25, 153-1 is a pretty decent first half line. We will see the Chargers getting the ball in the start of the third quarter. We've seen nothing in their run game. Again, Taylor Heineke leading the way with one carry for 12 yards. Herbert, 2 carries for 9 yards. Gus Edwards, 4 carries for 6 yards, and Kamani Vidal, 1 carry for the 7 yards. So absolutely nothing going on the ground when it comes to the Chargers running game. Palmer, Quentin Johnson leading the way when it comes to the Chargers receiving room, but ultimately not too much there. For the Chiefs, that late touchdown did come from DeAndre Hopkins. He's finally getting in the mix. Pacheco not getting a whole lot going on the ground. Neither is Kareem Hunt. We are seeing a pure defensive battle in this game. The live line has dropped to 32.5 for this game. The spread is now up at 12.5, as you would assume, in favor of the Chiefs. I don't mind taking a stab at, the plus 12.5 for the Chargers. They do get the ball. They got to score. Like, this is a divisional game. And again, kind of what we've seen from the Chargers. On the flip side for the Chiefs, like, what have we seen from them all season? They win, but as a lot of people like to say, they're winning ugly. Or they're winning, but they're not covering. They're winning because of this. They're winning because of that. I think we may see a little bit more of that in the second half. So I don't mind taking the Chargers, especially if you don't have a position in this game already. I would simply jump on the Chargers at plus 12.5. They're not going to win this game, but I do expect the Chiefs to not be able to cover because that's just what they've been doing the majority of the season. The 32.5, I think, is fine. The over 32.5, or I should say under 33.5 now, the line just moved. It is juiced at minus 132 to the under. I will say I have been on the under from the jump, from the beginning of this game. So I'm loving this game in terms of my bet, but in terms of a viewing experience, it is pretty bad. I wouldn't mind also taking a shot on a live touchdown score of Travis Kelce. He's all the way up at plus 490. I already have a position on him from pregame when it was at, I don't know, plus 130 or wherever it was. He's one touchdown away from setting or tying, was a passing Tony Gonzalez for the all-time franchise record of receiving or at least touchdowns, as we saw Mahomes pass that last week. So I like Travis Kelce to score, as you assume. They have been moving the ball. Again, they moved the ball into the red zone, and they ultimately get stopped. They did convert that one touchdown to DeAndre Hopkins there. Outside of that, it's been a pretty slow game. When it comes to the passing prop for Herbert, I think, because that's not listed right now, and maybe there's an injury update on him, but the 96 yards, again, just simply not enough. The fact that they cannot get anything going on the ground, I think, would point to this needing to be a big second half for Herbert. But again, this line is at least not posted on FanDuel I'm seeing right now. Maybe it's just due to the ankle injury that he had, that he suffered on some of those. Mahomes up at 245.5. He's got 153 right now. I think it's doable. I think it solely depends on what we see from the Chargers on their opening drive, because if they're not able to score, it's just going to be the Pacheco and Hunt show in the backfield. As we saw kind of on that opening drive for the Chiefs, they started off with, 4 straight runs. So, 245 is, all things considered, is like a relatively modest number, especially when Mahomes is already sitting at 153. But if Herbert is not 100% and the Chargers can't score in that opening drive, I really I'm going to have trouble seeing them get to some points. Now, I did say at plus 12.5 is a spot that I would certainly look to take them, just because I don't have a whole lot of confidence in the Chiefs covering overall. So there are a few things moving against each other right now. Maybe Mahomes does go over. Maybe they do cover, whatever it might be. Maybe Herbert just isn't able to do anything, and they're not able to move the ball. But I'll be back after this quick break. We'll continue to break things down. Of course, be back after the game for postgame as we recap all of today's action. Look ahead to next week's lines, as we have a few big games next week, especially between the Bills and the Lions. We'll, of course, break that down. Stay tuned on the other side of this break.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We got the NBA Cup going on. Not that anybody really cares per se about the NBA Cup. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I actually did try to look of what does it mean like for the NBA Cup? Like who's playing for what here? And I lost interest and I gave up after about 30 seconds. And I was like, you know what? Whatever, dude. There's NBA games.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
We are back for Pro Football Today halftime show. My name is Tom Vecchio. Halftime between the Chiefs and the Chargers. Sunday Night Football. The Chiefs are up 13-0. We saw a late touchdown from the Chiefs going to DeAndre Hopkins. It was the first touchdown of the game, so we waited nearly an entire half if you had first touchdown bets. It was DeAndre Hopkins. He was coming in around 11-1 and 11-1 for first touchdown and about plus 230 or so for any time touchdown. That has been the bulk of the scoring. We've seen a couple of field goals from the Chiefs and obviously nothing from the Chargers. Again, both quarterbacks getting a little bit knocked around in this game. We did see Herbert leave. We did see him come back. Apparently he's good to go. Heineke took a couple snaps and again is their leading rusher with 1 carry for 12 yards. 13-0. The Chargers do get the ball coming out of halftime to start the third quarter. This is a big game for the Chiefs with the Bills losing. It makes the Bills, that much further behind when it comes to potentially tying the Chiefs because the Bills do have the tiebreaker ahead of them. They obviously beat the Chiefs, but picking up a win here for the Chiefs is that much better for them, securing the number 1 seed, home field advantage, the bye, et cetera, et cetera. So big second half for the Chiefs here, right? Business as usual, keep things under control, continue to bring the pressure. They've done a phenomenal job at stopping the run. Again, it's not just Taylor Heineke who has the rushing yards. Kamani Vidal and Gus Edwards are getting absolutely nothing going on the ground for the Chargers. It has been all Chiefs defense so far in the first half. I think if they have a route to get back in it, this is the Chargers. That is going to be with Justin Herbert. 10 of 18 isn't the worst, but only 97 yards is pretty rough overall. Now, we know that Ladd McConkey isn't playing. He was ruled out earlier this evening, just not able to go, dealing with multiple injuries dating back to last week when they played the Falcons, just not good to go. J.K. Dobbins obviously has been out for a couple of weeks at this point, but their offense is clearly downgraded. Their defense is still pretty solid, as we've seen for the majority of this game when you're holding the Chiefs essentially to 2 field goals up until, 56 seconds or so when Hopkins scored, where pretty good job keeping the Chiefs under control. Their offense under control. They're just not getting anything going on offense to keep themselves in this game. So as I mentioned, before the break, Mahomes is in control of this game fully, and the 12.5-point spread that it is currently, I really don't mind it for the Chargers, but they have to score in the opening drive of the third quarter. They have to get things going because if they don't, we're just going to see this Pacheco, Kareem Hunt business in the backfield for the Chiefs, and they're going to have control of this game the entire time because the Chargers are not able to do anything on offense thus far. So it has to be a big opening drive. It has to be a well-scripted drive for the Chargers, a little bit to Palmer, maybe Quentin Johnson, Will Dissly, whatever it might be. Move the ball effectively, stop taking penalties, no holding, no false starts, all those things, and move the ball and pick up some amount of points. And I think that will keep them in the game because realistically, their defense has done a good job overall in this game to keep them within striking distance. And they mentioned on the broadcast where they were saying, this is kind of the way that the Chargers wanted the game to go, right? They wanted to be in striking distance once they got to the fourth quarter, and that's what has to start at least on this opening drive for the Chargers. Again, 13-0 in favor of the Chiefs. I'm still not seeing any passing props for Justin Herbert. That is the spot that I would realistically like to go because I think that's their path back in this game. I just have no confidence in them getting anything going on the ground. So I think Herbert props, if they get posted live, is where I'll certainly be looking. Again, I don't mind taking another stab at Travis Kelce for a touchdown. He's up at plus 490 right now. Again, I have him pregame at plus 130 or whatever it was, just because I primetime game at home, franchise record, all these sorts of things. I don't mind playing into a little bit of storyline. Again, Travis Kelce, high usage player backed by all those good metrics. So throwing it back to in-game with Gabe, he'll be back for the second half. I'll be back after the game for post-game, recapping this game. Hopefully it ends solidly, and then recapping all of Sunday's action, injuries, big names, looking ahead to next week for the big matchups that we have next week, Lions, Bills being one of them. I will see you guys after the game. Back to Gabe right now for In-Game Live.
In-game live game day continues. The second half has just commenced at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. 13-0. Chargers get the ball first, and this is critical for them. Like, this is, I don't even say it's a must-score drive. It's a must-score drive, just point blank. They're down 13-0. If it becomes 20-0, they're done, right? They're already offensively challenged, as we've talked about. They can't let it get away from them anymore than it has. They left a touchdown on the field earlier when Herbert missed a wide-open Josh Palmer. We ended up, and I didn't get the good number, guys. I told you, let's jump in on Herbert passing yards over 215.5. It went up to 227.5. So that's the number that we bet. We bet Herbert over 227.5. He got up to like 92 in the first half. So he's not going to have a choice. I don't care that McConkey's not here. He doesn't have a choice but to throw the football right now. So that's the play that we jumped in on. Justin Herbert over 227.5 passing yards. The in-game total of this football game is 32.5. Let's bring in Mr. Sean Higgs right now, see what he thinks about this game. Sean, can we get to 33 points in this game at 13 right now? Will there be 3 touchdowns in the second half of this game?
It doesn't look like it. I mean, this is terrible.
It's a bad game. It's just sloppy football.
This is, you got Mahomes and Herbert, and all of a sudden it turned into a Texans-Jaguars game with Jones and Will Levis quarterback. And this is – man, we've talked about this on the other shows, Gabe, like the quarterback play. We expect – it's just terrible, some of these games. And then on the heels of, like, your guys playing today, a wild one, into the 80-point range, and then you come back with this, with the Super Bowl champs. What is going on?
I don't understand, too. Both teams tonight, too, just drop passes, penalties, right? I mean, the Chiefs have, they finally scored a touchdown with Hopkins, but they dropped some passes. The Chargers have been, they make a big play, but there's a holding penalty. Like, they've been, 2 steps forward, 3 steps, 5 steps back, like, constantly. Yeah. Now they just got a first down, at least. They're on the move here.
But you're expecting that from the Chargers today. I mean, McConkey's been your whole offense, and he's out. So you knew you're going to be scrambling and throwing it all over the joint. But come on, Kansas City. This is the whole Kansas City entire season. We're waiting for them to beat Kansas City. They've yet to beat Kansas City. Still, week 14. When will you beat Kansas City?
They've won 9 one-score games. Unbelievable, huh? They've won 9 one-score games. So the Chargers are moving the ball here. Yeah. They've been freaking lucky. The Denver game, the Raider game. We could go on. So what did you do? What did you do with this game? I'm on the Chargers, so I'm sweating this out. I need the Chargers to put some points on the board.
I got a couple anytime touchdowns. I had Hopkins, Worthy, Gray, and Watson. And then I had
that's good. You hit the Hopkins. That's good.
I hit the Hopkins. I got Hopkins over yards 44.5. Watson over 9.5. Worthy 37.5. I had Jalen Rigor. I figured, you know what? Maybe he's a veteran, get some action over 1.5 receptions. So I know he caught 1. I don't think he's got anything since. I thought he had an incomplete by him. Field goals, both teams over 1.5. So Kansas City got there in the first quarter or whatever. So that was good, but nothing from the Chargers yet. And for the game, I had Kansas City early, 3.5, 4, and 4.5. So I just figured, I sort of liked them last week. I didn't play them off of the Carolina game where they almost lost that one. I figured, Meade's going to get in these guys' butts and say, let's have a game. Let's go here. And they almost lost that one. So my thought was they're going to have to play a good game and have the coach, have a full game. They haven't yet to have one all season long. Where's their good game?
Sean Higgs in the house with us. All right, so it is breaking and it is official. Juan Soto has signed with the Mets.
She was recruited to Oregon partially by, guess who? Mark Campbell and Xavi Lopez. They know what they're doing. And I'm going to say this right now, folks. I'm going to say this right now. Mark Campbell is one of the 5 to 10 best coaches in women's college basketball right now.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
We got the NBA Cup going on. Not that anybody really cares per se about the NBA Cup. Now, I got to be honest with you. I actually did try to look like, okay, like what does it mean like for the NBA Cup? Like who's playing for what here? And I lost interest and I gave up after about 30 seconds. And I was like, you know what? Whatever, dude. There's NBA games.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
He also said that the Bears head coaching opening would be the most coveted job after the season.
They'll let that guy stay. I heard today that they were very worried about screwing up Caleb Williams, so that he likes this guy Brown so much that they may let him stay as the head coach. What a disaster that'll turn into.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
In-game live game day continues. The Chargers are down 13-0, but they are moving the ball finally. This has been their best drive of the game. They've been able to run the ball a little bit. Herbert's completing some passes, quick hits. So they're on the move. They need a touchdown, though, not a field goal. They're now on the Kansas City 25-yard line. So as we were just going into the break, we got breaking news. Literally just broke 3 minutes ago. Juan Soto. And now they lose yards, the Chargers. Juan Soto has agreed to a 15-year, $765 million contract. Largest deal in professional sports history. $765 million, 15 years. Juan Soto is now a New York Met. A lot of people thought that the Mets were going to be the front runners and that he liked New York. To me, this is a bad look if you're the Yankees, Sean. Right, that, he goes to your crosstown rival. Like, the Yankees are losing luster here. But quite frankly, I don't like the Yankees. I don't think they wanted to pay him. Honestly, I think Cashman was sort of like, you know what? We're going to, we offered him $600 million if he wants it. He doesn't. If not, I'd prefer to actually get other players. But they got to move fast now, though. The Blue Jays did this last year, Sean, where they thought that they had a real shot at Ohtani, and they were in it until the final minute. And, we all knew he was going to go to the Dodgers. But then they didn't do anything after. Right? They kind of missed out on other players. Like, if you're the Yankees, you got money to spend. You better get out there and spend it, because Yankee fans not going to be happy that Soto's a Met now.
Well, here comes the overpay. I said they're not going to pay more than Judge. They could say they're going to go to 500, 600 million. That's fine. You knew the Mets. You shouldn't know. You're assuming the Mets were going to dig into their pockets. They paid handsomely for Scherzer and Verlander in the past. If this guy's really going to spend money, there's your guy, because this guy's 26 years old. You have him for 10 years, putting up, good numbers. But what do you know what, though, Sean?
Sean? I think you agree with this. I know you think, look at, dude, he was on San Diego. Look at all the players they brought in instead. Dylan Cease, all the players they got from the Yankees and stuff. And they were able to, they were trading, they had money to spend, and they actually spent the money on other players, and they were just as good without Soto. I'm just going to sort of say that, baseball, Sean. One player can't really, it's not like the NBA. It's like, oh, you got this big star player. Like, Ohtani was awesome. Ohtani joined Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman. Like, the Dodgers already had a bunch of studs there. Yeah. And Ohtani helped put them over the top, but they already were loaded. So it's not, it's not like hockey's the same way. You can have one great player. Good for you. One player can't help you win in baseball, Sean.
People love Mike Trout. You had arguably two best guys that Trout and him. How'd they do? They won 70 games every year. So the Yankees look at it this way: instead of $700 million to him or $500, now go get a first baseman. Go. I don't want Pete Alonso. I'd rather Christian Walker, I think, fits their bill better. But you need a third baseman. You need a second baseman. You need an outfielder. You need a pitcher. I mean, you need a relief pitcher.
It sounds like
exactly.
it's a long list. But we got a touchdown here, Sean. Let me just touchdown Chargers, baby. Touchdown Chargers. Gus Edwards, the Gus bus, punches one in.
The Gus bus. Yeah, but
the Gus bus.
It's a long list, Gabe, but it's not $600 million to one guy. Now you just played $600 million after the five guy or more. Fill in your hole.
Let's talking through our touchdown score here, Greg.
All right, we got a touchdown. Yeah, it's commercial break. Come on. What's the live in game now? You're looking for the over here. It's 20. You need two more.
I need more. It's 34.5 right now. So it's 13-7. We got ourselves a football game. Things have opened up here. I had the Gus Edwards. Did you have an Edwards anytime touchdown prop? I did have it. I had on the score the first touchdown, unfortunately.
I just went Casey. I thought Casey was going to win this game, so I said no thank you to the Charger props.
No Charger props, huh? No. Gus Edwards touchdown. And Gus Edwards' touchdown was plus 162, guys. So it was not a bad little payday there. We didn't have the Hopkins play, so that was frustrating. He was 11-1 to score the first touchdown of the game. I took Justin Herbert over 227.5 passing yards, guys, at the half. We gave it to you, and I put it in the chat. He's up to 140 right now. That was a pretty good drive for them, but that's the first signs of life that they've showed. So you said you played the Chiefs. What'd you lay, 4 points with the Chiefs?
I got 3.5, 4, and 4.5. So got a bunch of different numbers. I still feel all right, but I'd like to see him respond here, and I'll be good for your over because you got to come down here and put the points on the board. You know, I'd like 7. I don't need 3 to make it 14.
Yeah, this drive 60. Is big. Yeah, this drive is big. Like, you know, the Chiefs keep it going, and then the game opens up a bit, or if the Chargers get a stop, and potentially, you know, we got ourselves a real football game suddenly.
This reminds me of Thanksgiving with the Lions. 16-0 lead at the half. It could have been more. They could have been more here. It could have been 20. And then here it comes. They score right out of the gate. What are you going to do? You're going to go 3 and out. They have life. Next thing you know, it's 13-10 or 14-13. Worst case scenario for them.
Yeah, the Chargers, you can tell, too. Herbert's fired up. But you just sort of, you know, once you score, if you're getting shut out, you're frustrated, right? Like, everybody was frustrated on the sidelines. Harbaugh was frustrated. Herbert was like, now, you know, they broke through. You can just sort of see the body language on the Chargers is much better right now suddenly.
It was a 2-score game. It's not like you're getting crushed. You're a touchdown and a stop away from being back in the game. So you got the touchdown. Now you need a stop, and then you're in the game. I mean, you're down to score.
Yeah, in-game total is now 34.5, guys. That's the new in-game total, 34.5. And the point spread is 6.5 now. Remember, they got as high as 12.5. When it was 13-0, they were getting 12.5 points. Now they're getting 6.5. And the Chiefs got a holding penalty on the kickoff here, so they're going to be moved back. Sean, what do you think about the Monday Nighter tomorrow? Like, we've had a bunch of guests on tonight already. We've had a full house tonight, and everyone, we had Dave Delano on. We had Scott Steamroller on. They both like the over this game tomorrow, the Cowboys and the Bengals. So do I. So it's 3-0 to the over with our predictions. Are you going to make it 4-0? You like the over tomorrow night? Seems like that's the best bet of that game tomorrow.
Everybody's going to be in. Everybody will be on that, right? I mean, Cowboy defense, Cincinnati offense, and no defense. How about taking Dallas, the 5.5? Why does that seem like it's the right way to be? Why do I think Dallas wins tomorrow night?
Yeah, you know
what?
Like Dallas. It is a little high. My deal is, though, the Bengals know they're done now, right? So they're just playing, you know, they can play loose. You know they're just going to air it out, and they're going to score. Can the Cowboys keep up all game?
Maybe. The defense is terrible.
Cincinnati's defense is terrible. I know. They're second worst.
She was recruited to Oregon partially by, guess who? Mark Campbell and Xavi Lopez. They know what they're doing. And I'm going to say this right now, folks. I'm going to say this right now. Mark Campbell's one of the 5 to 10 best coaches in women's college basketball right now.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
We got the NBA Cup going on. Not that anybody really cares per se about the NBA Cup. Now, I got to be honest with you. I actually did try to look of like, okay, like what does it mean like for the NBA Cup? Like who's playing for what here? And I lost interest and I gave up after about 30 seconds. So I was like, you know what? Whatever, dude. There's NBA games.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
He also said that the Bears head coaching opening would be the most coveted job after the season.
They'll let that guy stay. I heard today that they were very worried about screwing up Caleb Williams, so that he likes this guy Brown so much that they may let him stay as the head coach. What a disaster that'll turn into.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Let's do this thing. In-game live game day continues. We got a game. Listen, the first half was terrible. We would all agree. It was brutal football, and it took 2 hours the first half. For whatever reason, it was like, why is this half so long, Sean? Nothing is even happening in a game. Normally, like, if there's a ton of points, like the Bills and Rams game was a long game because there was a million touchdowns and commercial breaks. And nothing really happened, yet it was still a very long first half. But the Chargers responded. They moved down the field. Gus Edwards punches it in. They're down 13-7 right now. And the in-game total is 33.5. We were just breaking the news as far as Juan Soto is now officially a New York Met. 15 years, $765 million. The other big news of the day today, of course, the college football playoff bracket was announced. And a lot of people are surprised that Alabama, after all the crying last week of everybody about Alabama end up not getting in. And I'm somewhat surprised, actually. I thought they would, Sean. I thought that they would put Alabama in over SMU, but they liked the way that SMU fought back and pretty much, I guess you make it. It's interesting though that both teams from the Big 12 didn't make the college football playoffs, but both teams from the ACC did in the end. Sean, were you surprised that Bama didn't get in?
Yeah, because I thought for sure sitting on the committee, all the SEC people would push them in. And they pretty much made it that way, like, well, nobody could get jumped if they're not playing. So you knew Miami was out. You knew Ole Miss was out. So it was kind of shaping up to them getting in there. But the Clemson win took Alabama out of it. But I'm still kind of shocked because they're Alabama. But this is the thing, though. You have 3 losses, and the committee always they tie themselves in knots. It's like a couple, how many years ago? I know it was a different playoff format, but the whole no conference championship games, you don't get in. We give it to teams in championship games. But now you've just ruled that they don't really count. These teams don't want to play.
They moved the goalpost. Yeah. And Sean, honestly, didn't it feel like these, for the most part, that the conference championship games felt almost like, not special this weekend? You know what I mean? The Clemson game was because they were playing to get in. Like that and you could feel it. It was like, all right, yeah, these guys, this is real. Like this game, they're playing to get into the playoffs. Arizona State was playing to get into the playoffs. They punched them in the mouth. They blew them out. But, like the SEC game, the Big Ten game was fun, but like you said, they don't matter. It's like college basketball now, Sean. It's like the conference tournament. It doesn't matter, bro. Georgia and Texas, what drama was it? All right, you get a bye. Okay, you do get a bye, but you're in, right? And it's just sort of, teams play each other multiple times now in the season and stuff. Like, I'm not a big fan of this new format. I got to be honest with you. I didn't have a problem with the 4 the way it was.
Listen, if you wanted to go to 6 and complain about teams, now you got the other teams complaining. So when it expands again in 2 years, right? It goes up to 16?
Yeah, then the 17 team will pitch. Exactly.
It'll be the 8 teams from the SEC or 10 teams. And 4 teams from the Big Ten. I mean, let's be honest. Like 3 weeks ago, it was like, well, Indiana, if they don't lose a close one here, they should be out. Well, if it was Michigan or Wisconsin or Nebraska or some other Big Ten team that was 10-1, there'd be no question they'd be a team schedule wise. Well, you know what? I saw Texas lose to the only ranked team they play. They lost as of yesterday. The ranked teams they played or at the end of the year was Georgia, and they lost them both because you had a nice easy schedule. I mean, Alabama played tougher teams. South Carolina played tougher teams.
I think their only ranked team win actually was against my Michigan Wolverines because that was early in the season. Remember,
yeah, but they're
Michigan
not
was still ranked.
Now,
Exactly. Yeah.
So at the end of the year, you want to talk about who's ranked right now? Syracuse is ranked, right? They lost to them, and they lost to a team that took Georgia, the SEC champs, to 8 overtimes. Could Miami be upset? I mean,
yeah,
you lost by 9 points.
But yes and no. They brought it upon themselves, losing the Cuse game.
But that's every team, though.
No, I know. And for the record, guys, the Chargers are moving the ball. They got a pass interference call to help them move the ball down the field. They just got aggressive and just heaved it down. They got the PI call. And they're knocking on the door here, Sean. They're on the 5-yard line right now, guys. Chargers are making a game of this. This is a big – now they lose Jalen Reagor. There goes your Jalen Reagor prop.
There we go. He had one.
I don't know, maybe he comes back. Jalen Reagor's jogging into the locker room right now with the trainers, though. But he is jogging on his own. And, wow. Boom. Touchdown, baby. The Chargers are balling, and we hit the Quinton Johnston touchdown prop, guys. That was like plus 210 or something. Man, another nice one. Put it on the board. Touchdown, board.
She was recruited to Oregon partially by, guess who? Mark Campbell and Xavi Lopez. They know what they're doing. And I'm going to say this right now, folks. I'm going to say this right now. Mark Campbell is one of the 5 to 10 best coaches in women's college basketball right now.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
We got the NBA Cup going on. Not that anybody really cares per se about the NBA Cup. Now, I got to be honest with you. I actually did try to look of what does it mean for the NBA Cup? Like who's playing for what here? And I lost interest and I gave up after about 30 seconds. And I was like, you know what? Whatever, dude. There's NBA games.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
He also said that the Bears head coaching opening would be the most coveted job after the season.
They'll let that guy stay. I heard today that they were very worried about screwing up Caleb Williams, so that he likes this guy Brown so much that they may let him stay as the head coach. What a disaster that'll turn into.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Well. What a difference a half can make. Harbaugh and the Bolts have adjusted big time, and now they're moving the ball up and down the field. Suddenly, guys, the in-game total is 40.5 right now. The Chargers have the lead, 14-13. They were down 13-0 a couple of minutes ago. 2 touchdowns. They've scored 2 touchdowns in the third quarter of play, and we hit them both. We were on both of them. We gave them to you off the top. We hit the Quinton Johnston touchdown, plus 210. Gus Edwards touchdown, plus 162. Some nice touchdown props. And as far as Justin Herbert, remember we jumped in on Herbert over 227.5. He's now up to 168. 168. Justin Herbert, 106, 17-25, 168, 1 touchdown. And we also jumped in on that no interception prop, but let's not talk about that. I don't want to mush it. Mahomes is 19-27 for $159 with 1 touchdown right now. But as we stated, Sean, it's amazing. Like you said, just like that Lion game, we've seen this a couple of times in the NFL over the last couple of weeks. Teams that don't, even yesterday is the college game, but Texas was dominant in the first half, and they didn't pull away. And they end up losing the football game. And same thing here tonight, man. 13, like I said, I was thinking the same thing as you that I said on the show earlier. If it's 20-0, Sean, this game's over, bro. Like, the Chargers can't come back from 20-0. It's almost a miracle they've come back from 13-0. Like, their offense has just suddenly come alive, man.
Well, listen, this is what Kansas City does. They get up, they lollygag around, whatever the hell they do. I don't know what they're doing. They don't play offense. They let the teams get back into it. Maybe they put a drive together here. I'd expect them to put a drive together here, maybe kick a field goal or something. But, man, this is Kansas City all year. We've seen this game. I mean, what'd you say? They played in what? How many one-score games so far? 7, 9?
9. They've won 9 one-score games this year. They've only won 1 game easily.
Well, they beat these guys by 10 when Herbert was out. Wasn't Herbert out when they played him this year?
Yeah. They got it wasn't even Heineke that played. It was Easton, the hockey stick. Easton hockey stick was playing. Yeah. Easton hockey sticks was the QB. So the Bulls are out too. The Bulls, and so it's pretty crazy. If you're Alabama, you thought you were potentially going to the playoffs, and now you're playing instead of the playoffs. Yeah, you're playing in the what bowl is it though? It's one of these new sort of so many like ReliaQuest. Right, the ReliaQuest Bowl, whatever. It's in Tampa, Raymond James Stadium.
Are you kidding me? Leash.
Yeah, I know these names now, right? But this is a rematch of the game I was at last year, actually, the semifinal game at the Rose Bowl, Michigan and Alabama, Nick Saban's last ever game, and so you get a rematch. But I'm wondering here, man, and Alabama are 11.5-point favorites, guys. Michigan are better than their record is. All right?
You got an interception.
Yeah, I know, close. But there's a penalty. Chiefs ball. Chiefs ball. Right. So yeah, Michigan are better than their record. We saw them beat Ohio State, but the thing with this is the number's 11.5 right now, Sean. Alabama are favored. I don't know, bro. Like, how many players on Alabama are not going to play in this game to go to the NFL?
Yeah.
Like, if it was a playoff game, they would play, right? But it's not a playoff game, and you have a lot of kids on Alabama that are NFL draft picks. Meanwhile, when you're Michigan do have NFL draft picks, guys, but their star players already weren't playing. Like, Will Johnson's been out pretty much all year. Their star DB, and I don't expect him to play in this game. He's like literally a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. Colston Loveland is a first round. Well, he'll be one of the first tight ends taken. The Michigan tight end is a star. He didn't play against Ohio State, and he's not going to come back for this bowl game either and risk injury. He was already injured. So Michigan guys, like Davis Warren, he ain't worried about getting drafted in the NFL. This is this kid's last football game. Like, Michigan will be fired up. They're going to have their team that kind of beat Ohio State. And I think we could get ahead of the number here, Sean. I don't think it's a bad bet to take Michigan now, because I really would not be surprised if a bunch of Bama players bail on this bowl game.
Yeah, I mean, and that's, like you said, you got draft pick kids, and are they going to be like, this is Alabama, we're going to play in a Reliant Bowl? Like,
yeah, like you don't feel like you don't owe them anything at this point. It's like, whatever, dude. Yeah. It's the ReliaQuest. Who cares? You know?
They could be upset they're not in the playoffs, but you still lost. You lost your games. It was a crap year for you. They're like, this, get me out of here. And it's not. This isn't 1997 where they have to play. Right. This is all. These guys don't play now. You're right. Take the points. If you're telling me that Alabama's going to come out and they're pumped up, everybody's like, no, we're going out on a high note. I don't think so. They owe their coach nothing. This is his first year. He's got no sweat and blood like these guys had. They're like, I'll see you. I'll come back for Alumni Day next year with my Lamborghini.
Now, it should be noted that Deion Sanders, like Shedeur Sanders, could be the number one pick in the NFL draft. He probably will be, actually. Or, you know what, it could be Hunter. Depends on who has the pick, right, if it's a quarterback team. But for the record, they said that Deion said, no, my kids are playing, and Hunter's going to play. Everyone's going to play. Like, they have pride. They're trying to build that program up, which is pretty wild, actually. That, but I almost believe it when I see it, Sean.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Let's see him
I'm like, yeah, you say that now, but what happens if someone tweaks something? Like, and I get it, bro. Like, I used to be mad. Like, McCaffrey was the first one that did it, remember? And I was like, oh, what a jerk. You're selling your teammates out here and stuff.
Exactly.
But now I totally get it. Now I understand. Like, if you're going to be a top 10 pick in the NFL draft, you're whatever. Like, you're a first-round pick, and you've got nothing to prove, why would you play in the Alamo Bowl or one of these games? I totally get not playing.
But the thing is, it's not just top 10 picks now. It's a bunch of guys. I'm sitting there.
You got fourth-round guys and six. Oh, I'm just not exactly. It's ridiculous. And those guys are stupid because they can improve their stock by playing. Those guys are dumb. I'm just talking about the elite of the elite. But so, yeah, Deion said that they're going to play. And for the record, the Colorado Buffaloes are playing in the Alamo Dome. The Alamo Bowl is always a fun one. At BYU versus Colorado.
Yeah, well, at the lines, as we're talking, it's gone from 2.5 down to 1. So it tells you all you need to know about that game. It's on its way down from 2.5 to 1.
Speaking of the college football, though, and I agree with you, actually, and people are kind of anti-Clemson all the time, but I jumped on Clemson. I took them against SMU, and we cashed the ticket. They're getting 11.5 against the Texas Longhorns. That's a lot.
I like it.
Yeah, but we know Texas's offense isn't great. They only score like 26 points a game, and we know Clemson's defense is really good. That's going to be a battle. That'll be a close game.
Who have they beaten? They beat A&M, who has no offense. They beat Michigan, who's had a bad team this year. Sorry. I mean, you lost to Georgia twice, at home and on a neutral with no offense. Now you're going to have a good offense versus Listen, I thought Dabo would I don't know if he has one foot out the door because he's not a nil guy, right? He really does against it. We've said this before here. But now I think he'd be like, you know what? I can knock off this team. I think he thinks his team's better than this team.
They got a chip on their shoulder, Clemson. Yeah. Dabo likes being the underdog spoiler, right? I mean, he said he goes, oh, you guys always doubt us. He goes, now maybe we'll be the first team ever to win a championship with 3 losses. He goes, how would you like that?
if Miami would have just won and Miami went out, I'm sure he would have been out on recruiting trying to do what he does. But the fact that he got in that game, and I had Clemson yesterday. I was like, you know what? I'm going to take him here. I could see him, he's here now. Before it changes the mindset. He's like, wait a second, we're a game away from the semifinals now.
Sean Higgs with us. Sean, we only got about a minute left here or so. Where can people find you online, Sean? And all your hot
check me out. Everywhere. We're winning free picks, gamblers rolls, picks and parlays, winners and whiners, stats all, sports capping. I'm all over. Capper Review, hundreds of sites. I'm a menace to society.
Yes, you are.
How about those Bears, baby? Those Bears.
Another loss for the Bears, huh? So you're cashing that ticket. You're cashing that ticket. Bears to the under this year. All right, George Kurt's going to step up and in. We're going into the fourth quarter now. Thanks, Sean. Good stuff.
She was recruited to Oregon partially by, guess who? Mark Campbell and Xavi Lopez. They know what they're doing. And I'm going to say this right now, folks. I'm going to say this right now. Mark Campbell is one of the 5 to 10 best coaches in women's college basketball right now.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
We got the NBA Cup going on. Not that anybody really cares per se about the NBA Cup. Now, I got to be honest with you. I actually did try to look of like, okay, like what does it mean like for the NBA Cup? Like who's playing for what here? And I lost interest and I gave up after about 30 seconds. And I was like, you know what? Whatever, dude. There's NBA games.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
He also said that the Bears head coaching opening would be the most coveted job after the season.
They'll let that guy stay. I heard today that they were very worried about screwing up Caleb Williams, so that he likes this guy Brown so much that they may let him stay as the head coach. What a disaster that'll turn into.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
In-game live game day continues. I am Gabriel Morency, SportsGrid Radio and Television Network, Sirius XM Channel 159. Thanks to Sean Higgs. We've had a full house on the program tonight. Jeff Feinberg joined us, Supercharger fan. The Steamroller, Scott Steen, chief backer. We had Sean Higgs. As I said, we've been stacked on the program tonight, and of course George Kurtz. Coming in every Sunday night on the fourth quarter, and we're normally sweating it out and needing more points in the game. I'm sort of all over the place in this game, George. I actually tried to middle this thing. I teased the Chargers to the over and to the under. So I got to get to, the under's looking good, obviously, to the under the 50, but I'm hoping to get to 37 here somehow. We would need 10 more points, a touchdown and a field goal. What are you on in this game? Oh, well, he dropped it. He dropped it, yeah. Wow. Yeah. Wow.
I was originally on the Chargers earlier in the week, but once I heard earlier today that McConkey was out, I went much heavier on the Chiefs. I'm on the under here. So I'm on the Chiefs more in this game. I would really like to see them score a touchdown here. I think Chargers played a great game, down 13-0 early, came back. Good for them. Herbert's been banged up all over the place, and he's surviving here. And Mahomes is going to get killed, by the way. Absolutely killed. He keeps taking all these hits.
So the McConkey, isn't that frustrating though? Like you're thinking about the Chargers, and I guess you were thinking too, and it's 13-0, and their offense was sputtering the way that it was. You're like, all right, it was the right side, but you know what's strange, George? Like he missed Palmer. Like their wide receivers have been getting open, right? Like we got Jeff Feinberg. He's a big Charger fan, and he didn't even like the Chargers tonight. He goes, Gabe, I don't think without Dobbins. He goes, they can't run the ball anymore. And he said, without McConkey, who's he going to throw it to? And he goes, I think it's going to be a long night for the Chargers. But their wide receivers have been getting open. Like Herbert just missed that touchdown to Palmer earlier, and they had a couple of drops. But it's amazing how they flicked the switch in the second half here, George, because that was a terrible first half of football from the Chargers on offense.
It was. And that's the other reason why I had a tough time trusting the Chargers, is because no McConkey, who is amazing. He's the best receiver from day one here, but also because Palmer and Quentin Johnson, they do get open. They really do. They just, they can't catch. They have bad hands, so it's hard to trust them. Now, the Dobbins injury as well. Yeah, it's hard to trust him as well. Trust the running game as well with these guys out. So that's a big reason why I switched over to Kansas City. I told you on Monday, I thought the Chargers would end this tonight. But when I said that, or Thursday, I guess I said it, but I thought McConkey would play. I was surprised that he was inactive today.
So the Chiefs kicked the field goal, 16-14. We're up to 30 right now. And so, if the Chiefs score again, they'd be covering. right? If they scored again. What'd you lay, George? 4? So you need, you know what I mean? If they win by 5, it was 4, 4.5.
Yeah, I need no score.
Right.
I need no score.
Yeah, close. Yeah, they need another field goal, but we'll see how this plays out right now. But at least it's somewhat entertaining right now. It opened up. It was a fun third quarter. All right, George, so the inevitable, let's get to it. Juan Soto signs with the New York Mets just about half an hour ago, whatnot. And 15 years, $765 million. You're the big Yankee fan, but I don't think you're surprised, right? I don't think you expected him to be back to the Yankees. I don't think Yankee fans expected it, but does it bother you that it's the Mets?
I guess a little bit because I'll see him every day still. Out there from all the Met fans, blah blah blah. I mean, would I have rather him gone to the Dodgers? Yes, I'd rather the Mets than the Blue Jays or the Red Sox because that's in the division.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
Yeah.
So either way, you got to play him 4-6 times a year. The Yankees would play the Dodgers. Yankees play the Dodgers 6, they play the Mets 6, or whatever. So a little bit, but as you said, I predicted the Mets all along. I figured Cohen would outspend everybody. And as Sean Higgs was just saying, during the break here, $765. It's $51 a year if you want to do the math there. And there's no deferrals, by the way, for anybody who was wondering. Completely deferral-less. I would hope. I don't know if I would have signed him either for that amount of money because I was afraid, Gabe, where if the Yankees signed him, that's all they were doing. That's it. Winter's over. And they were lucky to get as far as they got last year. Judge and Soto carried them the whole year. No one else could hit. All right, so they were lucky here. So I'd rather them, if they could, spend the money wisely. Yeah, I think they could be a better team even without Soto last year. Listen, as a fan, I loved Soto. He was a joy to watch, but he wasn't the greatest base runner. He was a bad outfielder. All right, he was a great hitter, an absolute great hitter. But the Yankees, theoretically, if they get the right people, the right third baseman, a right first baseman, a starting pitcher, a center fielder, whatever they're going to do, theoretically they could be a better team if they make the right moves. My problem is I don't trust Cashman to make the right moves.
I brought it up earlier. You look at, I think Soto's awesome too, and I would have been happy if he would have signed with the Dodgers. But at the same point in time, I brought it up earlier. One player in baseball can't change like everything, right? And so now look at San Diego. You and I talked a lot about San Diego. They had him. It didn't affect them losing him. They took the money that they would have, they were able to make a lot of trades, George. They brought in Dylan Cease, right? They were able to do things, and they spent the money wisely, and they were a very dangerous team. Right? You could argue they were the second best team in baseball. I mean, the Dodgers said that after. They said, we looked at San Diego as like the one that was like, all right, this is going to be the hard one. Not to disrespect the Yankees, but Dave Roberts basically said, I thought that whoever won the San Diego in our series was going to win the World Series. And I said the same thing at the time, actually. And they lost Soto, but you got to move pretty fast now, though, George, right? The market, the players get bought up, and then, the musical chairs, and you don't have anyone. What do you want to see the Yankees do now? Who should they go after?
Well, the biggest problem for the Yankees in losing Soto is they lost a left-handed bat. Almost all the good free agents are all right-handers. I think they got to trade for your ex-boy, Bellinger. The Cubs don't want him.
Cody, yeah.
The Yankees need a first baseman / center fielder. He would fit nicely here. Good left-handed bat. Makes a lot of money here, but I think you could get something there for him. Maybe you're going to put him in center field. You get Christian Walker. A Gold Glove first base, which the Yankees really haven't had since Teixeira. Then Bellinger would play more of center field. I would have liked Adames, but he's gone. I'll say it over and over again. I do not want Bregman. I don't think it would work here in New York at all. I think he would get crushed. Now that the Astros hope for a 6-year deal, I assume they'll work it out. And after that, so I want Walker, I want Bellinger, and go get Burns or Fried, either one. Go get an ace pitcher and fix that bullpen.
I'm interested to see what happens with Teoscar Hernandez now. The Dodgers signing Michael Conforto looks like I think Teoscar could be signing somewhere because he's getting real big offers from a couple of teams. The Dodgers aren't going to get into a bidding war.
She was recruited to Oregon partially by, guess who? Mark Campbell and Xavi Lopez. They know what they're doing. And I'm going to say this right now, folks. I'm going to say this right now. Mark Campbell's one of the 5 to 10 best coaches in women's college basketball right now.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
We got the NBA Cup going on. Not that anybody really cares per se about the NBA Cup. Now, I got to be honest with you. I actually did try to look of like, okay, like what does it mean like for the NBA Cup? Like who's playing for what here? And I lost interest and I gave up after about 30 seconds. So I was like, you know what? Whatever, dude. There's NBA games.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
He also said that the Bears head coaching opening would be the most coveted job after the season.
They'll let that guy stay. I heard today that they were very worried about screwing up Caleb Williams, so that he likes this guy Brown so much that they may let him stay as the head coach. What a disaster that'll turn into.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
In-game live game day continues. I'm Morency. George Kurtz in the house with us. Juan Soto's a Met, and I would have been happy if he would have signed with the Dodgers, but at least now I don't have to hear people complain about the Dodgers signing everybody. You imagine if they did it? It would have been like, oh god, like just shut up.
Another $700 million in deferrals. I think that's the problem with the Dodgers. It's not so much they signing everybody. The Yankees have done that. It's the deferrals that are driving people nuts. But listen, every team can do it. It's in the CBA. You're allowed. Yankees could do it. Boston could do it. Everybody can do it. Dodgers are taking advantage of it. Good for them. And I told you before, by the way, if I was a baseball player, I've lived in New York my whole life. I'm playing for the Dodgers, by the way. I like LA. I like the warm weather here. They're a great team. You don't have to worry about being that guy. He's got Freddie Freeman. He's got Shohei Ohtani. He's got Mookie Betts. Where else they're going to sign here? So the media's not always hounding you. So I think it would have been a great spot for any ball player to want to play this. So I don't blame anybody for doing that.
I like what Blake Snell said. They said, what was it about the Dodgers that you liked? And he said, I like the fact that I don't have to pitch to these guys anymore. That's what that was good. And he said, honestly, it was a good line. It was funny what he said. He goes, it's going to be fun for me to sit in the dugout and watch other pitchers have to pitch against them and be on their team. Because he said, you guys don't know how hard it is to face these guys to start a game. Right, those three dudes. So they bring in Conforto, the Dodgers. A nice signing. Dodgers are smart. They always bring in these vet guys that have something to prove on a short deal, and then they overperform. And you know what I mean. The Dodgers let them go after. Like it's almost like, all right, Teoscar, you're gonna go get big money from the Red Sox or something. We'll get Conforto for 1 year, $17 million, and we'll plug him in. And I think the Dodgers are going to get Sasaki. I don't know for sure. It's either them or San Diego. We know that point blank, right? He's buddies with Yu Darvish. Like Yu Darvish is his mentor, but Buster Olney was reporting that he's already made his mind up. He's going to the Dodgers. The Dodgers know. They're just waiting for that January 15th date.
It's not a money situation, so I imagine he does know where he's going. I'm sure he might run the rounds here and go visit other teams here, but it'll be a West Coast team. And I read it the same way as you. I would be floored if it's not the Dodgers. It could be, I guess, San Diego, but I think it's going to be the Dodgers. I think he's going to want to play with Ohtani. He's going to play with Yamamoto, two icons from Japan here. So I'd be surprised if it's not. The Dodgers can't offer anywhere near as much money as anybody else. But then again, we're only talking the Dodgers can offer $5 million. The most any other team can offer is 7.1, I think it is. They took $2 million. I don't know if he cares about that. He'll want to play for the Dodgers as well here. So you don't hear him mentioned anywhere out here, right? You don't hear him mention the Yankees, Boston, Philadelphia. No. This is West Coast.
And he has the same agent as Yamamoto, just for the record. Not Ohtani, but he has the same agent. But it's Yu Darvish's agent too. So there's just a little connections there, but that's just to throw it out there that Yamamoto and Sasaki, same agent. So the Chargers, we got ourselves a game here. We're on different sides, George, and I want points. I need to get to the 37 here, so I actually want a touchdown. You don't.
No, I want. No, I don't want any. Well, I guess I need Kansas City to score, but I'm gonna have a hard time winning the under and Kansas City. I don't see that happening. Probably gonna have to split here. So maybe they can miss a field goal. Can Dicker miss a field goal for me? It is raining.
So these got sacked. They made it a little harder on themselves. They just got sacked here. Yeah, and that's the thing. It looks like Harbaugh. Except if you're Harbaugh here, and I know you're trying to score, but they're just trying to throw. They just got sacked. But man, we've seen this a million times with the Chiefs, bro. Right? You know, if you get a 17-16 lead here, the door's wide open for them, for Mahomes, just to march down the field and kick the field goal. The only thing is they don't have Harrison Butker.
But actually, they're on their third string kicker, right? They don't have Schrader either. They got this whatever Wright or something like that.
Yeah, right guy.
Listen, they'll find another way to win this game. It'll be they'll get the field goal block and they'll return it for a touchdown. I mean, that's the way the Chiefs have worked this year. But you're right. Giving the ball back to Mahomes not good. You know what's funny about that? That game, it went. When it was kicking, I'm like, I'm going to go get a sandwich. I went to my fridge to get something to eat. By the time I came back, it was a commercial. I'm like, all right, I'll watch the overtime now. And then all of a sudden, they put the Buffalo Bills-Rams game on. I'm like, I live in New York. They would never do that. They would never go with what the hell happened to the Giant game? I found out later on. I figured out they missed the kick. I didn't know it was blocked about a half hour later when I saw it on Twitter. But I said, went to go get a sandwich. And then by the time I come back, it's like, where's my overtime? I was trying to watch Giants-Saints overtime, by the way.
The Giants did cover, though. I was on them. I never bet on the Giants at home. But, dude, the +5, you know, Derek Carr, guys, I brought it up. He's 1-14-1 against the spread in his last 16 road games. Now, chalk it up. 1-15-1 against the spread in the last 17 road games. Yeah, I just thought it was a little bit much. Always dangerous to trust the Giants, though, I'll tell you. I was watching it, though. It was heartbreaking for them.